going on, everybody? So there has been a question posed in the group, and I just wanted to hear your opinion on this. I want to hear their opinions on this, and just go from there. The question is, should a man receive his plate before the kids and the wife get theirs? Taylor, how do you feel about that?
Like I said, honestly, I believe that the man should get served first before the kids and the wife, because in what should happen is that the man's actually providing that food that's being served. So I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather always got served first, and that was because he did provide for that food for everybody. So whether it was like three of us or five of us or eight of us, my grandfather always got the first plate, and my grandma always got the last one, and I didn't see anything wrong with that at all.
Okay.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I will say though that nowadays, because the financial dynamics in households are so much different, because a lot of households have two incomes. There's households out there where the woman is the breadwinner, but I think as a whole, because like for instance, I cook, you know what I'm saying? But as a whole, I think that the parents, the providers of the house, definitely should be served first. Like, it don't matter who cook. If she cooks, if he cooked, then she should get served first. If she cooks, he should get served first. The kids definitely should be the last ones to eat, because you know what I'm saying, they ain't paying no bills. So they ain't providing nothing. You know what I mean? They can wait.
Also, to like what you said, as far as like depending on who's cooking, but also too, I think it seems like it doesn't apply to people who have small kids, because especially I know nowadays that a lot of people are just having kids and cohabitating, and it seems like the mom is always with the kids and the father's just out and about. Like, there's no family connection. Like, I know that we always ate together, like,
Hmm.
what I mean? Where, like when I was living with my mother, my mom would eat she would eat in the living room, and me and my brother would eat in the kitchen. But then, like, with my grandparents, like, if we was all eating, we all ate together as a
Yeah.
family. But nowadays it's like the boyfriend, baby daddy, he could just like eat wherever in the house. And then it's like the mom and the kids are eating together. So then, of course, his plate might not even get served. He may be serving himself. So I think it all depends on the dynamic of the household for sure.
Yeah. So that article that you guys found, or that post that you guys found, there was somebody that made a comment on there about I think the guy said something about submissive women. Like, if they're not submissive women, they're gonna be lonely. What do what do y'all think about that statement?
I think that I don't know. I'm sure you guys probably seen Kevin Samuels. The guy that dogs the shit out of people. Well, really, women. He dogs the shit out of them. When some of the women, they needed to hear those hard truths. But I think it all depends on when you mean submissive. Submissive could just be like you letting your man take the lead, not necessarily just like doing everything that he says. And maybe he just threw that out there to rile up some people to be like, oh, heck no, but if you're always trying to be the lead, then what's the point? I mean, some men are not going to stick around, because it's like, what's the point? Like, if you're going to take over, what am I here for?
Yeah.
As the man.
I got a question. Yeah, I like that, Taylor. But this question is to the guys. What are y'all's definite? What is it for submissiveness? What is that for y'all?
I believe, as far as being submissive, a man needs to be a trustworthy man, a man that's worthy of being submissive to. And for guys, even I'm guilty of it myself. It's easier said than done. You get into a point where you let your ego take over. Sometimes, in men's cases, you could a streak of laziness, of this this situation, or not even being involved. But I think a woman will naturally be the kind of woman she really is if a man shows and does his part. You know what I mean? Other than that, I think it's just, to me, it's just another scenario of what you see nowadays. You got a woman, or for lack of better words, a girl that's just following a dude and just following him because it's a dude or it's her dude, not so much that he's doing what he's supposed to be and following the role of a man.
Man, ain't that true? That's true. No, I agree with you, man,
Thank
about
you.
as far as being submissive. I think that one, I think submissive is a matter of kind of like not doing everything he says, but just being more like the one to take the back seat and kind of, hey, you drive, like basically, you drive this truck and I'll navigate. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a team. Like he's got the foot on the gas pedal, but she's the one that's handling everything else in the vehicle or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I think submissive sometimes can be taken the wrong way, because it's not like, I'm gonna put a leash on you, you're gonna do what I say and how I do it. Right? Like that's not what I think of when I think of submissive. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I think that's what a lot of people. So when he said it, I think a lot of people got angry, because they're like, oh, you calling us submissive. When maybe, in my opinion, submissive is just like having a position in your relationship and y'all respecting each other. You know what I'm saying? But somebody is going to be leading in that relationship, and it might change from time to time, depending on the situation. But somebody's always leading. You know what I mean? And I think the person who's not leading.
I think for me, I have to feel like a sense of security. I know that there's that thing where, women are, is particularly Black women, we're the most, unsecured, woman on the earth. You know what I mean? Because a lot of women are raised to find security, and then of course within their race, and the men are raised to like be that security. So if you don't feel that security, that's why I think a lot of women, we do take the lead, and we are like, well, what are you here for? You know what I mean? Because we don't feel that security. And I think if we do that, then we can feel like the woman in the relationship. So then, like, like the voice had said, that if a woman will feel more inclined to fall back in the woman role if the man is in the position to lead, or build that trust that he could lead for us to feel submissive.
And I believe play too, because there's been generations of women being raised to be stronger, because there's been generations not they're supposed to be doing. You got young men coming up that didn't have dads, or if they had a father, he wasn't like he was supposed to be. He wasn't like the father figure that you should see, as far as like taking care of the household, leading the household, even to a certain extent. A lot of people don't believe in it, but being spiritual, people don't realize. For me, having a very strong spiritual aspect of your life it's what makes a partnership, a marriage, and a parenthood. What makes it work. And I think a lot of times we get that confused too, as far as the role of a man and a woman. When you say partnership or team, they look at it as everything supposed to be 50-50. Well, at the end of the day, the man still should be the provider if he's going to be the head of the household.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, the generation thing comes from like a lot of women are expecting a man who doesn't know how to be like a father to be a father. Like I have friends who they seem to have kids with men who like have no clue. I mean, I think the biggest clue was like he's 35 and he never has any kids. Like that should tell you. And it wasn't like because he went away on the Peace Corps, or or he went to college and he's a doctor, or he's 35 and did something with his life. He just was like, oh, I was just chilling. Then you already know, like that's the biggest clue, that he was not ready to be a father. Another clue is that, if he has nothing to either bring, I mean, when a man's prepared to like have a family, whether it's a wife, whether it's children, he sets his life up for that to come in, And if you're meeting a guy who doesn't even have his own pot to piss in, and he's coming to piss in your pot, like, you can't expect him to be the man of the house. And then you're not even respecting him as that anymore, because he came to your house, So, and then when it's over, like they're like, oh, he doesn't check on his kids. He doesn't do anything for his kids. I'm like, well, what did you expect? He has nothing for his kids to go to. You kicked him out. You pretty much put him back where you found him.
Right.
And now he has these children out here growing up without him because he just never knew how to be, or he wasn't ready for fatherhood in the first place. So
you
now
guys
you are just perpetuating that same
Why is
scenario that he
you
probably
even
went through.
on that?
see now we have thrown out so many scenarios within the one question. Because now the basis of the question was, should a man get fed before the family? So now everybody is throwing out, well, what if he's this? What if he's this? What if he don't do this? Or she ain't doing that? So I'm going to throw it to Tara. Tara, what do you think about the original question? Because it feeds into everything that we've been talking about.
Well, the question was, should the man be served first?
Right. But
not in my house. My husband, absolutely. But my man, no, my kids. Now, if he's providing still, and if he's my man and he understands that the Bible says that the husband is the head of the house, not the boyfriend, not the man, not this drop over. No.
Hey!
But if
Thank you,
he's
G.
the man in the house, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you like, okay, so are you saying that this man in the house don't live there? Or are you saying like the boyfriend lives there? Because if he's living there and he's being the head of the house, whether they married or not, he's now the head of the household, right? Like, I mean, otherwise they just shouldn't be living together.
Well, but that wasn't the question. The man, now if he lives there and he's 50-50 provider, then yeah, that's a conversation that we'll have. Absolutely. Okay. But if he's just the man, he comes and eat, he has his own place. No, my kid's gonna get served first. But we'll have that conversation because I do believe that the husband should be served first. Period.
Okay.
Well, answer me this.
Boyce, what do you think about that?
I look at it this way. I agree with both what Savvy, sister, and what Joe is saying. But this is my perspective on it. You got to look at it this way, Joe. The man of the house, even if he's there paying 80%, you can't. That's just a man and a woman in a relationship, dating or serious dating. It's not the man of the house, because in order to be the man of that house, you have to be in covenant. You see what I'm saying? So if you're not married, you're still not the leader of that house. You're
All
just
right, but whose
you
house
might.
Are they in though? I hear you 100%, especially from a spiritual standpoint. But
Yeah,
you know,
but
then
it could
we're
be.
kind of getting into semantics, like whose house are we in? Because if he's the man in the house, they live together, and she got her family in his household, then he's the man of the house, right? Like, you know what I mean?
But
there's
maybe
different
that wasn't
expectations.
I
question. That question
like the
wasn't fully thought
spirituality
out.
plays into that because honestly, like I had a friend that she was dating a guy. They were best friends, and then they started dating. I mean, she moved her and her two kids moved into the house, into his home, and so because she wasn't his wife, and because he wasn't, flinging the engagement stuff in her face, she always felt insecure to the point that after 3 years of living in this man's house, and when they would eat together, he kind of operated in his own little world, and then she operated with her and her kids that they didn't even really like, when they sat down to eat, her kids were served first. And then she would be like, hey, do you want a plate? Even though they were
Oh
in his
no.
But it was
house.
like roommates.
And so,
No.
and that's what I'm saying, because my friend wanted the marriage. She wanted to get engaged, but this guy just was not, I think he didn't know for sure if this was the woman that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. So she was so insecure in his house that after 3 years, she bought her own house, and so then now, of course, they're not together anymore, but he still is friends with her because they had a friendship first. I just feel like if the spirituality is not there, like people just subconsciously don't realize that they're acting different, no matter how domesticated they are. They can have bank accounts together, they can have, money together, investments together, because they even had a business together that they both invested in. And if it's not there, you're going to operate and like two different people, like roommates, like you said. No
That
matter how
right.
many years have passed, no matter how many kids you have or stuff, it would just subconsciously, it would just be that way.
A
I
business
got
relationship.
Yeah, I got two things to that. One of the biggest things, and I think the boys should probably agree with me on this. The biggest thing is that, um, you know, do it the right way originally, like from the jump. Do it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because we are talking about scenarios that we're already 20 steps ahead, and we never took care of step one. You know what I'm saying? So do it the right way originally, and also, you know, do your due diligence. Know who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? So you don't end up
Absolutely.
with some dude that ain't ready for kids, don't have what it takes to be a father, and don't know how to take care of a family, right? So do your due diligence, and don't just jump into bed with that dude and then be like, oops, you know what I'm saying? It
Talk
was an
to me.
accident. You know what I mean? It wasn't an accident. You laid down on purpose. You know what I'm saying? But also, I, I think that the one of the things I keep kind of hearing it going back to is like, well, I act this way because we ain't here, or I act this way because we ain't here. Like, oh, that's my man, but ain't my husband, so I ain't gonna serve him. Oh, we live together, but he ain't talking about marriage, so I ain't gonna serve him, right? Well, everybody is interviewing at all times, right? Yeah, I mean, even after you get married, like you're still interviewing every day to stay in that marriage. So if you know you're interviewing and you want to get married and you want that man to treat you like a wife and to offer that, don't you think you should probably show him what he's going to get when he marries you? Because if you're showing him something totally different, then he's probably like, oh man, this ain't really what I want. She ain't bringing it to the table. Just like y'all want a man to show what he's going to bring to the table up front. You can't wait until he asks you to marry you and then be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a good wife now." No, you got to start that process from the beginning.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. I think so. Though I think the women that do the whole jumping into bed and creating kids without even knowing the person, they're showing them these things, but that person just was not ready for all of that.
Right.
And you're right. You should show to an extent,
Right.
what life would be like, I guess, if you decide to cohabitate with a person you're not married to. You should still show them that, like what it would be like if I was their spouse. But so I can agree with you on that. But usually women who are doing those sort of things and find themselves in those situations, they're, of course they're going to show this guy like, oh, well, look, we could, you can come live with me and I'll cook dinner and then, I'll have your babies. And then the
Uh-uh.
person was not ready
That's
for all of
Well,
that.
that's
hold
No,
on.
that.
No, no, no,
having
no,
your baby over
no,
no
no,
God.
no. No, I'm gonna stop it right there. We didn't move into a whole different realm.
Yeah, like,
That's a whole different scenario right there. So
Oh,
there you have it. We had 5 different conversations, 5 different things going on within one. The main point of the whole thing is trying to figure out, should the man get fed first? But then we try to figure out, okay, if he's the man, is he the man? Is he the man that's just chilling in the house? Is he the man that's doing this? We don't know. At this point, if you ain't doing it the right way, don't do it at all. So with that being said, I would like to thank everybody for coming in tonight, tuning in on that particular subject. We want to hear what you have to say. So make sure you drop your comments below, because as soon as we air this, somebody will be on there and we will be answering these questions. And I'm pretty sure once we get out of here, we're probably still going to have this same conversation, because there was a lot that needed to be said. So thank you guys for tuning in for this segment of the recap, because there's a lot of stuff being said, a lot of things going on. But ultimately, it comes down to what you base your relationship on.